Our era has more in common with the 1930s and 1940s than with any other period in recent history. It is the second era of dictators of modern times. Like the first age of dictators, this generation of despots operates with increasing impunity. Russian President Vladimir Putin invades Ukraine. Azerbaijani President Ilham Aliyev is carrying out ethnic cleansing in Nagorno-Karabakh. Chinese President Xi Jinping is committing genocide against the Uyghurs. Iran supports proxy wars. Keir Starmer and John Healey's Christmas trip to a NATO base in Estonia to visit British troops and subsequent speeches show how the country's defense has moved back up the political agenda. This is a good moment to reflect on Labour's history when it comes to defense and foreign policy, and the party's performance against tyranny over the last 2 years. History, ideology, values and the founding principles of Labour's foreign policy make it a natural anti-dictatorship party. It is party that created the architecture of post-war collective security under leadership of Ernest Bevin. It should be leading voice in European politics, highlighting the axis of dictatorship that threaten free world. Most urgently, Ukraine's Labour Party should be leading advocate for full membership in NATO to bring the country under Article 5 of Treaty, which stipulates that an attack on one armed ally is an attack on all. Instead, he took a backseat and played catch-up as the Conservative government demonstrated the magnitude of its support for Ukraine. The truth is that Conservatives have failed Ukraine and therefore endangered the national security of United Kingdom. Boris Johnson has played out his Churchill fantasy game to the fullest. He is more popular in Kiev than at home. His visit to Ukrainian capital, right after large-scale occupation, sent a message to whole world and Ukrainian people: you are not alone. The equipment, money, intelligence cooperation and training that then flowed into Ukraine made the difference. Many people in Kiev still speak glowingly of their friend Boris. The UK's military aid programme was part of a consensus between Labour and Conservatives to stand behind Ukrainians against Russian aggression but not join the fight to actually defeat occupying army. Even this level of consensus on support did not exist in 2014, when no party came to Ukraine's aid, despite security guarantees provided by the paltry piece of paper that Budapest Memorandum on Security Guarantees shows. The consensus on 202,223 remains valid and there is little political friction on the issue. Anti-appeasement is in the Labour Party's DNA. During Falklands debate, Michael Foot, one of authors of Guilty Men, greatest anti-appeasement book ever written, spoke in Parliament and gave Margaret Thatcher no choice but to send in task force. Blair's wars in Kosovo, Afghanistan, Iraq were fought against dictatorship. In Iraq and Afghanistan, despite numerous failures, terrible human costs, dictatorship were